Hey, welcome to the GMB Fitness Skills Show. Andy, unfortunately, or fortunately, is not here with us today, but I do have a special guest. Amir Solsky is with me. We're going to be talking about all kinds of cool stuff. So sit back, grab a drink, maybe coffee, maybe wine, depending on the time of the day, and get ready for a great interview with Amir. Hey everybody out there today, I'm very pleased to have a special guest. Today I have Amir Solsky with me. Now Amir, celebrity fitness trainer and nutrition expert. Just read a little bit of his bio because it's pretty incredible. He's been involved with the body movement, exercise, things like that for many years now. Started off with martial arts. Capoeira contra mestre. Did I say that correctly? I hope I said that correctly. And he's a founder of Fundamentals of Movement in Capoeira in Los Angeles. He's got classes there for all levels, so if you're in the Los Angeles area, be sure to check him out. Now, interesting thing, Amir and I have become friends via the Facebook, and love what you're doing, Amir, and of course not just the handstands, but everything involved. And I just really wanted to chat with you and learn more about you. So let's go ahead and start it off. If you can start off for us, give us a little bit of background about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Sure. I'm coming from Israel, grew up in Tel Aviv, and started with movement practice from yoga and more from philosophy. Actually, used to hate sport as a kid. My whole family would go exercise, and I would sit and just watch. And then, but then I kind of got into first was like Buddhism and all kind of those type of philosophies, body cleaning, all this salt water, all kind of stuff like that, meditation. And then I got to control your body, control your mind stuff, and start to do a lot of stretches, flexibility stuff. And I'm talking about the age of 15. Mm-hmm. So it took me a year to get like a front split, 2 years to get side splits. I worked really hard every day for hours. Was also doing some jogging and stuff like that, and kind of started to get into my body. Got into capoeira a little bit before 18, so kind of late. But back then also capoeira just started in Israel, and my teacher was the one who brought it back over there, and I was there. I think it was his first month teaching, so pretty much, yeah. So I'm considered of the founders of the capoeira in Israel as well. And I did a lot of work with that there. I had many groups, lots of students, and I had like manager. I was doing shows all over the country for a while, and also kind of while I was doing that, I was also researching other things. So I came to the U.S. When I was 20. Went to Berkeley. I was looking for information about nutrition. I bought some big books. I was studying them. Then I went back to Israel, and I went to school where like the men's sport facility where also most of the Olympic teams they train there, and that's where I got exposed to gymnastics. And I was kind of playing with flips in capoeira, but not with very good form. I mean, I was by then I already kind of did all the moves, but just not very clean. And I started training with the teacher of the Olympic team of gymnastics in Israel. And then I organized also the class to kind of open up for the rest of the people, the rest of the capoeira people there used to come, and that was like a really nice scene. And by then I was doing some weightlifting. That's what I also went to school for.
Okay.
Together with aerobic instruction also that I took, and the name that I put on my system is called Fundamental of Movement. Actually, it was a name on my certification when I graduated there. It said I have a certification for Fundamentals of Movement, which is funny. I got it in school, but no one really used it as anything. And I was thinking, that's actually a very good name and smart for what it really entails. And I don't even know that my teacher really view it the way I look at it, like the understanding of what I do with basically building movement for people, working, addressing mobility, joint work, and really movement, because when you do bodybuilding, which was, or aerobics, you don't really come necessarily from a mindset of movement. So, but
very interesting background. This is great. So you're back in Israel, and then you went back to Israel for a little while, and then obviously you came back because now you're in Los Angeles. So what brought you back to the United States?
So I traveled a lot in my late teens and my early 20s, and something, from very young age, probably watching movies or whatever, but I always wanted to live in America.
Hmm.
That was like a dream. Probably a lot of people have that dream. But, I did too. And it was a little process. And I traveled here a few times as a kid, and back, my first times I just came as a big trip with like 30 people,
Oh, okay.
like for like a month, a few days in each place.
Uh-huh.
And I came by myself a few times. And back then, when I was a kid, I didn't really had a job. I wasn't in a level where I was like, so I was trying, to kind of figure things out, and then, traveling, seeing what's needed and what I could do. I went back, and my first certificate that I went to massage school. I got certified as a massage therapist, and then I went to sports school and I got certified in sports. And I always was interested about health and all these things that I did that made sense to me,
Yeah.
that I kind of picked up and collected along the way. And I tried probably any movement form under the sun. In a young age, I started swimming, and I did rock climbing, and I went to dance, and I took ballet and jazz, and I even been on TV back home as a jazz dancer on a beauty contest of Israel. Yeah, this is funny. And I worked in entertainment, in hotels, in like we have a big city for tourists on the Red Sea. I went there for a couple of months
Wow.
and did shows. So I was always in that world of show and always exploring other stuff, other martial art, other body, all these things, And then I came here and kept developing here. I got more into circus work, aerial stuff, hand balance, hand to hand, all the stuff on a balancing hands and one arm, all that kind of stuff,
Hmm. So
performing, that.
this is incredible with your extremely varied background. I think it'd be very difficult maybe to try and explain to somebody really what you do. So if someone comes to you and wants to train with you, I hate to say and pigeonhole it into one thing, but how would you describe what you do? If someone comes to you and asks, I don't want to say what's your job. I actually have the same problem. People ask me what I do, and it's kind of difficult to tell them exactly what I do. But how would you describe your style of training and what you do?
You're right on that, and yeah, we both have that problem because it's a very broad field, and
Yeah.
there's so many things that we do, and on the most part, I mean, right now it's funny because you ask me, and I actually end up really talking about myself a lot. But on the most part, when I'm with people, I actually usually end up kind of interviewing them, see what is it that they do, what interests them. So then, if I have something that maybe I could offer to their, because some people, like one thing, some people like another thing.
Yeah.
The connection with different people would be on different places.
Yeah. No,
So
that makes total sense. Yeah, exactly.
it's hard to say
Yeah,
in one word, I mean, it's true.
and it's the same. And I totally understand what you're saying because we're pretty much the same thing. Basically, what do you want to do? I'll help you do it.
Exactly.
So
But if anything, I mean, I try to promote health. That's kind
good.
of always been my main focus and the reason behind all the different things. And you can go by health in many different ways, and it's a very big thing. So it works different for different people.
Yeah. So you're a lot of the videos that I see, obviously, you're doing teaching capoeira, and so I know that it's a very big part of what you do. But of course, it's not the thing as we just talked about. But could you describe a little bit about one of your, I don't want to say typical days, but if you had a perfect day in your life, what would that be for you?
So my days, I kind of have a routine, and also my days are all different because I can have a day like yesterday, where I worked out like probably 8 hours
Hmm.
throughout the day, like waking up early, and I had like what was it? I did like a maximum strength Olympic lift at like 8 in the
Oh,
morning for
nice.
like an hour and a half, killing it, and then I went to do some stunt work for some 2 hours, 2.5 hours out in the sun in the park, with the people just like moving intensely with another person and shooting, and it's like non-stop in the main heat. And then I had a little break in between, and then I had a gymnastic class that I teach and more upper body strength,
I see.
which on the same day it's a lot. And then
Yeah.
I slept really good, so that's kind of like a fun day. But then there's a recovery day where sometimes there'll be like a day maybe I don't do anything at all,
Hmm.
just hang out with friends. So and there's a lot of things that goes in there. I like to sit, have my coffee, and read a little bit. I'm a big bookworm, always reading stuff.
You and I have so much in common, man. But that's so refreshing to hear. You know that you work very hard, obviously, and then you do have your off days, your recovery days, and so it's just so great to hear because I know like what we do, you do have to train quite often. This skill work that we are doing, no matter what you're doing, but that recovery so important, right? So
Yeah, that's when you get stronger.
yeah, exactly. So what about nutrition? I don't think we need to talk a whole lot like what your diet or anything like that, but let's say maybe there's someone who comes to you and you could give some very basic advice to a person about their nutrition. What would you say? And I know it's different for every person, but
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Because I talk to people and you just look at the person and you can see that they have different eating habits. And some people more on the right track, so maybe little things can, and other people completely off, and so there will be other things. One thing that I try to really stay away from, and it's inevitable, but people always ask me, well, what I do.
Mm,
And if I say it, then I'll just freak them out because for them, even if they try to, like I do many times, will just throw them completely off of their balance, and it's just not gonna be right.
yeah.
So I don't believe in radical changes. I always try to implement small changes to the better direction, so until it's stabilized, so people feel good about it. I try to educate people and give them the right information or direct them to the right information. So I like when people do their own research. I always encourage that, but different people also have their own time issues or whatever. So, when I work with people, I work a certain way. When someone just asks me, different, and every situation is different.
So good. It's wonderful. And something else in there that you mentioned, I think, is just such a wonderful thing to hear is if you don't have the answer, or maybe it's good for somebody else to go work with another person. You let them know that, and I think that's a sign of a very good coach to let the person that you're working with know that maybe you're not the person to help them out with. And it takes a big person to say that. That's really good to hear. Very good to hear. What about training? So you did mention like yesterday was a pretty crazy day for you, but obviously there's probably some big goals that you're working on. How do you how do you fit it in? How do you fit everything in basically?
So I work with periodization, and I do cycles for myself, like I do for other people. Any change all the time, and different cycle has different emphasis, and I build different peaks. If it picks of certain elements of strength, if it picks of skill, and my goals. I put goals for myself, the yearly goals, but then also the goals change many times with the emphasis. So. So it's a very big picture. It's very complex. My main thing is really that I'm always learning something new, so my body always adapt to a new intensity, to a new skill. I like to think that I'm always improving myself because so far I haven't really lost much of what I had. I always like to improve and think that I gained more new
Nice.
stuff. And so I think if I don't really believe in staying in the same place. I think like plateauing is very temporary, and I believe you either go forward or backward.
Yeah.
Plateau is a very temporary place before you go backward. So I always try to push forward. Of course, pushing forward sometimes you have to go backward on some things because you overkill it and then you're backward, but that's part of the movement forward.
Exactly. So yeah, and it's always constantly changing, but like you said, as long as you're making these small increments, moving forward always. And I personally, I like to think of rather than chart being like this, that it's an upward spiral. We might come back, but we're still going up, so we're constantly improving,
Yeah.
and always good to hear.
So backward, I think it's part of the going forward too.
Hmm.
Many times, like I
Yeah,
just maximum strength session, like over a while, like a lot of intensity and volume, and now I'm so depleted, like I'm coming to do strength stuff, and I don't have the strength. But it's not really going backward because now my body is processing everything that happened, and when I'm gonna bounce back, I'll be stronger than I was before. So it is part, it's very specific weakness.
yeah. And skill work too. How do you judge or how do you kind of program some of your skill work? So I know your one arm handstand. That's something that I see you working a lot on, and obviously me. I love being upside down, and I have my ways of doing things, and I'm sure you have your ways of doing things. How did you actually? I want to know how you got started with that. How did you really start training that? Do you have a coach, or did you just decide, what, I want to do it, and you went on your own, or what?
I work with many people throughout the years. With all of my skills, actually I have such a long list of people that I worked with, so it's really it came always came down to inspiration. I
Nice.
mean, it's not like I cannot say that I had one coach, but definitely been inspired and trained together with many people and travel a lot and constantly I do, you know. So if you handstand, actually the handstand, the basic one came pretty easy for me in capoeira. I started
Okay, sure, sure,
a
sure.
month into it. I was already holding solid handstand just by trying it and doing it.
Hmm.
Just I just tried, and you know probably wasn't necessarily good handstand, capoeira broken, funky handstand, but I was balancing in the same spot. Could hold like a minute handstand for like after like a month or two in capoeira. So for me, that did it. Uh, and then I got to gymnastics, so I cleaned it up more. I worked again with the coaches of the Olympic team. There's a guy named Gennady, another guy named Yuri, and you know working on different alignment and locking the position and building more strength in it. So then I was working on the gymnastic
Hmm.
handstand. Later on, there was another friend of mine that I grew up with him from a very young age, Ido Portal, that
Oh,
helped me.
yes, yes.
So he was working on the one arm handstand, and that kind of got me interested in that.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Later on, I worked with another friend from Cirque Larev from Vegas, Yuval Ayalon,
Oh,
and he's
yeah. You've all, yeah, yeah.
probably one of the biggest help I had toward the actual one arm was from him. I was always traveling to Vegas and training with
Great,
him as much as I could.
great.
Still, you know, always still online. You know, he gives me always he look at my stuff and give me
Such a
commentary.
good guy, you've all, yeah.
Oh, I love him.
Yes.
He's awesome. And playing, just playing with so many
Hmm.
people. Yuri Marmorstein. Yeah, so
Oh,
there's so many people that do it. So you know, once you're already kind of swimming in the ocean, they're all the fish that come and swim with you.
oh, yeah. It's such a wonderful way of saying it. And what I love about even the handstand and the one arm handstand community is how everyone so supportive of each other. And, and the names that you just named, I'm friends with all of them too. And just the inspiration that you get from other people. And I like how you said that it's not just one coach, but a coach of many. And those people help. And that's why I think it's so wonderful. And you're an inspiration to me too. And so that's actually why I wanted to talk to you today. So it's just great to have this community of like-minded individuals without the big ego, people helping each other and wanting each other to be better. I think it's wonderful. Absolutely fun
That's
stuff, yeah. So let's look at a question here. I got a question. So if a guy walked up to you and he's asking for advice, but you only had a couple minutes to give them your best tip, what would that be? And it is a tough one because people ask me this all the time, and I'm like, it depends on the person and everything like that. But let's
because
say you've only got like 1 or 2 minutes, and the guy walked up to you and is like, "Hey, I really love what you're doing. What's something that could help me right now?" What
I
would
mean,
you?
usually I would ask, well, what's your thing? Do you try to lose weight? Do you try to get the handstand? Do you try to get a backflip? Are you trying to be healthier? Are you trying to get jacked up? What are you try? You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
this to just say something generic. Personally, me, my drive is health, but that's just a word because if you look at all the stuff that I do, a lot of people do the same thing for complete different purpose.
sure,
So
exactly.
who to say, you know, what's better than what, or you know, it's such a general question that I don't really know.
Well, that's good, and that's kind of what I was hoping, like, that maybe you'd say. So that's leading into the question I really wanted to ask you is, what is health to you?
To me,
When you speak of health, what do you mean by health?
well, for me, it's really come down to being connected to the roots, to my roots as hominids and Homo sapiens, and so looking back at lifestyles and how our species developed and try to conform to that and to that in modern times with all the options and all the knowledge that is out there, which is why I'm also such a big bookworm and there's so much is so intriguing to me. So you know, both with movement, both with nutrition, um, yeah, basically try to get the most out of life and enjoy all worlds, you know,
Nice.
as much as possible. For me, being connected to my true self and to my roots, and that's for me the purest joy. You know, it's just so it feels so true and so strong and powerful and fun.
Wonderful. Love it. Love it. Where can we find out more about you? So I'm obviously we're going to post. We'll have the link and everything for all of you listening where you can find out. But is there one particular place that you would like people to go to get more information about you and what you do?
Well, one thing, of course, you can always Google my name, Amir Solsky, and there's a lot of stuff that comes out. But other than that, there's two sites that I have. One is fundamentals-of-movement.com. The other one is Capoeira Los Angeles for my Capoeira school. And my Facebook is where I post a lot of stuff. Facebook, Instagram. Instagram, I have a lot of cute little videos of lots of different things, all kind of little movements. My Facebook, many times I put different thoughts or different things that comes up. So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
good stuff. Yeah, and what I'll do is we'll go ahead and post those links for all of you that are listening.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry to cut you. But one more site actually that I also made for more specifically for fat loss and for building, endurance strength. Powered by Tabata is
Oh,
also a site that I have with
that's good.
a good friend of mine. Yeah, a lot of Tabatas out there. Great ideas.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you brought that back up because I actually forgot about that. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's a great site too. So we'll be sure to put that up there too. All right. Anything else you'd like to add? Last words?
Well, just thank you so much, and also I've been following listening to your iTunes. With my partner from Panama Tabata, we were sitting and looking, and so much good stuff. You've been doing it for so long,
Thank
and
you very much. Thanks.
impressive, interesting. So I'm very, I feel very honored to be on your podcast.
No, the pleasure's all mine, and it's been great. I just hope we can do a follow up, hopefully,
Okay.
and do it soon. Maybe we could have you do some videos or something. So, thanks
Sure.
again, Amr. I'll be sure we're going to post those links for all of you listening out there, and hope to talk to you again soon. Thanks, man. See ya.
Bye.
For more great info, join our posse at goldmedalbodies.com, and be sure to check us out on iTunes and YouTube.